Once upon a time, in a magnificent castle perched high on a hill above the sea, there lived 5 princesses. Their names were Joy, Grace, Faith, Hope, and Charity. They were blessed to be the daughters of the king. This is the story of Princess Charity, the youngest of the 5 sisters. When she smiles, her eyes sparkle with fun and a hint of mischief. She is the most fearless of the sisters and can often be found climbing trees or chasing foxes across the meadow. She often wears riding boots under her frilly gown, anticipating a daring adventure. One day, as Princess Charity finished grooming her horse Daisy, a trusted servant approached her. "Is it fitting for a princess to be in the stables, cleaning and caring for the animals? Would your father approve of this and your trips near the border of Sir Richard's land? Your sisters are always busy with royal responsibilities in the castle." "But this is my favorite place in the kingdom," Princess Charity respectfully replied, hugging Daisy's neck, "and I really love my adventures." That night, the king told grand stories of his latest travels, while the girls listened intently. Princess Charity thought to herself how one day she wanted to be a courageous knight and go out into the world. "Daddy, why aren't we allowed to go beyond the Weeping Woodlands?" she interrupted. The king hesitated and then sternly replied, "Charity, I have told you before, our neighbor, Sir Richard, has decided to guard his borders. You are not allowed on his land. Is that understood, girls?" All the princesses nodded, except Princess Charity. That night, Charity dreamed of adventure and exploration. The next morning, before her sisters awoke, she left a note saying she had gone riding and would be back for lunch. Then she went out to the stable to saddle Daisy for a ride. Charity galloped through the countryside to look out over the kingdom. She remembered what her father had said about not crossing the border, but surely she could look down by the creek. While eating her picnic lunch, Princess Charity watched a young boy racing a horse and buggy along the dirt path that followed the creek. He was so close to Sir Richard's side. "He's going much too fast," she thought. Just then, his horse buggy's wheel hit a rock. The boy went flying through the air, landing motionless in a ditch. Princess Charity jumped to her feet with a muffled cry and whispered a prayer. "How can we help this hurting boy, God?" Princess Charity looked for someone to come to the boy's rescue. In the distance, she saw a nobleman's coach speeding down the path. "Oh, good, Daisy, here comes help," she sighed with relief. But the nobleman's coach passed by, with only a short pause where the boy lay. Oh no, they didn't stop. Princess Charity wasted no time. She jumped on Daisy, rode down to the edge of the creek. As she approached, she saw a group of Sir Richard's soldiers charging down the path. Charity hid behind some rocks with a clear view of the boy. "Oh, thank you, Lord. Surely they will stop." But just as the nobleman had done, the soldiers whisked by without even a glance at the hurt boy. "Daisy, that's it. I must rescue him. But he's so close to Sir Richard's border. What if the soldiers return?" She was overcome with compassion. After looking both ways, Charity and Daisy bolted from behind the rocks. She attached the cart to Daisy and put the wounded boy into the buggy. She gently wiped his face, wasting no time, headed back to the castle. Seeing Princess Charity in the distance, her sisters ran to meet her at the gate. "Where have you been? Who is this? Where did you find him? How did he get hurt?" The princesses asked Charity. "I don't know who he is, but we must help him." Quickly they moved him into the castle, and servants gathered to help the boy. After hearing the news from the groomsman, the king found Charity outside the guest room and asked, "Charity, where were you today?" "Daddy, I went riding past the Weeping Woodlands up to Monument Hill. I saw this boy get hurt. He was so close to Sir Richard's border, and I watched the others pass by. She stammered while her sister gasped. I had to help him, and I brought him back here." Suddenly they heard loud voices and clanging swords. Before the king could say a word, he was summoned to the entrance of the castle. The king found the servants fretting as soldiers burst into the grand hall. Sir Richard was announced, and the king went to greet him. Do you have my son? Sir Richard thundered. Your son? The king repeated. Yes, he was seen being brought here by one of your daughters. My soldiers were looking for him because he ran away. They did not recognize him as the boy in the ditch. Turning to the girl, Sir Richard implored, Which one of you girls saved my son? Slowly, Princess Charity stepped forward. Taking her hand, Sir Richard begged, How can I ever repay you? With no thought for herself, Princess Charity requested peace between the two kingdoms. Sir Richard quickly accepted. Days later, his son Jack was well enough to go home. He promised to return to ride with Princess Charity another day. As they watched him ride away, the king smiled, turned to Princess Charity and said, Your heart was kind and full of mercy for this young boy. I am so proud of you. Not only is he safe and well, but peace has returned between our two kingdoms. And because of your courage, my sweet one, we have all been blessed with new friends. The end. This story is a parable based on the parable The Good Samaritan.